Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Filmed in front of a live studio audience in beautiful Burlington, North Carolina. Please welcome our host, our president and CEO, Andy Albright.
All right, y'all grab a seat. We're getting ready to do this thing. So that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about the show for today. I was like, what do I want? What I would like is for all the brand new people to make it. And what I would like for you, the people that you hire, I'd like for them to make it. And then I was like, all right, what's my most valuable task? What's the most important thing I can do to get that to happen? And I was like, well, explain it to them. Or for those of you that don't understand me, explain. Tell them how it works. We say explain it to them. So what I want to do is, if I could save some people that are going to fail miserably with us, if I could give them a tip, or the people that you've hired, Ed, if I could get one more of them successful to make it with us, okay? And there's a couple people that are brand new that I've hired, or they're hired at like one in-depth or two in-depth to me, and like I'm talking to them particularly because I want them to make it. Because like what I said is, if I really cared about you, what would I say to you? Like if you were one of the ones like that you were related to me or something, or a neighbor or one of my kids or somebody that I knew and started to like, then what would I say to them? How would I explain that to them, and how would they make it? I have told people in the past, I've said, now look, don't come being nice, get around me and be my friend, and then screw up and leave me, or don't, fail miserably. So it's those people that I've started to like, or I'm starting to like, or people that I had a previous relationship, what I would say. So I really want to get on that. So that was what I want, and how I'm gonna how I'm gonna try to get it. Now, a lot of people say to me all the time, and I'm getting this more and more. I love this. They say, "Hey, when can we just sit down and chit chat? Get a bite to eat, coffee, and I'd love to hang out with you." And I said, "Well, I'd love to sit down with you on this cruise ship we're going on." I was listening to this I don't know if y'all heard my podcast, but Mac Hefner interviewed your guy, Evan Patzer. And I remember having lunch one day with Patzer in Paris and his mom, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that I've met in the last month or two that I would love just sit down with them. Y'all know it's all you can eat on these cruise ships, right? And it's up in Alaska, so there's going to be some beautiful sites that we can just go up. There's usually like these cozy little places where there's a little couch and little outside chairs, and we just sit out there and get a coffee and look at the landscape and chit-chat about life and what we think and what we fear and what we love. So if you would just try to think about that a little bit the next day or two or next few minutes, when you come out of this call, start booking some appointments. Let's get you to win that cruise so we can just hang out, man. It's just sit down and talk. And people say, well, couldn't we do that tomorrow? I go, I'm jammed up tomorrow. I'm working on a couple of deals as far as products. I've got some situations I'm trying to handle, and I probably won't be able to do it tomorrow. And then the agency managers are going up to Traverse City this week. I'm flying up early, going up Saturday, me and Jane are. So I'm kind of jammed up, but I know I'll just be goofing off on this cruise. I mean, just puttering around. And so there are some people I look forward to hanging out with them. Lee Reyes and Adelia. I have ridden on buses around the world with James and Pam Alara. Looks like we're going to go on a cruise together. They are so cool. Let's see, Marty and Diana Doge already won this cruise. And then we've got Debbie Ben has already won. I always get to hang out with Debbie on these trips because my wife likes hanging out with Debbie, so I like to hang out with my wife, so I get to go hang out with Debbie. Jake and Belle Krause have already won. This thing is going to fill up in the next few months. I just look. Let me tell you something. I got a spot for you right there. Spot right there. Spot right. There's going to be plenty of spots on there for you. Don't worry about too many. Uh-oh, look here. Terry and Tia. Terry and Tia right there. Where y'all wanna go? Let's put y'all in a suite right up in here. In a suite. Right there in a suite. Oh yeah. So we have the most liberal or the easiest ways to win a trip this year. We're going through a lot of transition stuff, and we said we want everybody to have a better shot at winning the cruise. So it's kind of like if you were thinking about winning a trip with us, this would be the year to jump on in there. Okay. I want to say this too. There is a special seminar that we're doing on annuity training, and I haven't told everybody, and I'm never going to announce it to everybody, but I want to say if you're a top producer, especially if you're with IULs or annuities, and you really want to invest some training, you want to invest in yourself, contact me. I'm going to a lot of individuals, but we're going to keep it to around 50 to 60 individuals. We're going to have to travel out to Texas to do it. But it's a big investment. I just don't want to miss. And then somebody said, I wish you'd asked me. I go, well, I said it on the show. So I'm covering my rear end by saying we're going to do that in October in Texas. There is a Rolex contest going right now. The top 5 producers. That's another. We just keep layering these. Oh, the Foresters contest. So Foresters gave me, I think it was around $50,000, and I said, how can you use this to get everybody rocking the Forest? Because Foresters they got their process better, they're issuing quicker, they got a lot smoother, and they was like, how do we convince anybody? And I was like, they ain't gonna believe you because the problems you were having in November and December. And they was like, how about some money? I said, money is what we do is we run a contest, and then people try it, and they go, oh, they're issuing, and then they start writing a lot of Foresters again. So we're going to go up. It's the first week in December. I think it's going to be a Monday night and a Tuesday night. See if that's December 3rd. The Miami Heat are playing the Toronto Raptors, and we have been known to rent a suite and have drinks and food come in there and just hang out. So that is very likely what we're going to do. And then Taylor has went through and picked out 5 or 6 really nice restaurants for the next night. So we're there 2 nights. I mean, this is one of my favorite parts, like where we're going to eat. You know, like they all, you know, I learned early in my career when you have people together, you got to bring substance, you got to bring meat, you got to bring really good training. But I always like the good food. So we're looking at some really good restaurants. One of them is called Antler, and I was like, I bet that's going to be some different kind of food. The Antler Game. The other one was George's, which is my daddy's name, so I know that's going to be good. So we've contacted them, and they're coming back. We're going to pick 2 really crazy nights that we have up there, and during the day we're going to tour Foresters, meet the underwriters and the whole thing. But we're inviting the 3, we said 3 rookies, but it looks like we might have 4 or 5 rookies go, and that's just people that started in the last 18 months. So if you started January of last year, you're considered a rookie. And we're going to have at least 3. So you know you got a shot. And then the veteran's going to have to beat them out. But if they don't beat them out, we'll have, so it's 10 people altogether. All right, so it's top 10 Foresters producers between now and the end of October. So it's just like kill it with Foresters and put some points on the board. Let's see, I think you got the leaders of that contest, the Foresters contest. I think, let's see where we are on that. There you go. That's it right there. So we've got, so Mia, you are, where'd she go? Mia? Look at here, girl. You are number 8 in that contest. And, okay, so the rookies, the veterans are taking back over. So the next rookie is this Nathan C., hired by Fitzgerald, and Veray B., hired by Joe Dukes, and Mia. So that would be the three rookies that are winning. And then the veterans would be Douglas B., Michael and Angie, Jonathan and Megan, Paul Epstein, Louis A., I bet that's a body, Debbie Ben, Brian L., Likens, I bet that's Likens. Likens, you ought to go with us on this trip to Foresters, man. That will be fun. Good. I don't know if you've ever been to a pro basketball game. And Minerve Profil, and then Nathan C. and Bree. So this will be 8 people, and then 2 veterans, so it'll be 10 total. All right, so real close. Jacob K. I wonder who that is. They're in our group. Stephen M. Mike and Michelle Alleman are close. I would look for her to come on strong in the end. So because, like, I'm just telling you, if you're beating Mike and Michelle Alleman, I would win by a large margin because she's going to come on strong at the end. Joe Dukes will probably come on strong at the end. Lee Reyes and Eric Belair. Oh, this is going to be a lot of competition. Case and Carissa, look how close y'all are. Y'all are right there behind Veray. This is a young, sharp couple that have just gotten involved. Zach Wright, good to see his name up there. Andy Riddle's team. Teresa A., Cameron A., I think Ashcroft. So this is going to be a fun contest, and anybody can win it. I mean, look, it's $5,000 issue paid with Foresters. You could do that in a week. You could do that. I mean, you could write $10,000 issue paid in Foresters in a week the way it's issuing. Not much spread between number one at 12,000, and all the way down here at number 10 is 4,600. So it's anybody could win this, and it's going to be a fun trip. And it's a small group of people. I'm also inviting, pre-invited Stephen Davies, Paul Roberts, Diane Lampy, the Leventoviches, Robbie Kraft, and Andy Riddle are already invited. So they're already up there. So it's going to be us. It's just like a very intimate group hanging out at Foresters. Okay? All right. What else? Okay. Contest going. I really want to get into, so much going on. Why do some people make it, some people don't? I think I want to get into that because I'm so excited about it. I got other stuff I need to cover with you. So one of the things we want to do is T-shirt contests. Anybody like to win a T-shirt? A lot. I mean, I saw somebody the other day and they said, I don't give me a sticker, just give me the money, just give me equity. I was like, I want the sticker and the money. Because if you don't win the sticker, you ain't getting the money. You know what I mean? Like, you can say I don't want the sticker, but the sticker usually comes with the money. And so I just get the stickers because they're easier to picture. So we've come up with some T-shirts. I think the rule, I was looking at the numbers this morning. Last month, we had like 75 people hire 2 people direct to themselves, recruit, get licensed, and contracted. We only had 18 people do 3 or more, and we only had, wait a minute, where we go? Where's my last month? I know the numbers. I don't see the numbers, but I know the numbers. We had 18 people do 3 or more, and 9 people do 4 or more direct to them in a month. So, do you have it? Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. So we have 18 people do 3 or more. We had around 70 people do 2 or more direct to them. So I was saying, where could a T-shirt? So here's where I'm leaning. 3 in the month of September, we would get you a T-shirt that says, I did my due, I got my 2, you. Now that's saying 2, so I was thinking about 2, but there's so many people already did 2, like we need to shoot for 3. I'm looking to get the elite a little bit better. Do you have multiple choices on these shirts? What do I want? How do I get it? Keep going. 2 licensed, 2 sale. Oh, that's another good thing I want to talk about too. Is that the only 3 you got up there, Billy? If that is, that's fine. Okay, so I'm still working on the shirt design, but what I'm looking at, but here's the deal. I'm going to start today. So if you got somebody contracted tomorrow, we're going to count it. Or if you put them in class and they accidentally get licensed by Friday, we're going to start to count it. So we'll call it the month of September, but we're going to start now. okay? So this T-shirt will be given out. They'll be given out at the end of September. So through the month of September, what we're trying to do is everybody, Toby and Stephanie, 3. You can look on here and say, well, I can tell you who got 3. Stephanie, part of Bailick's team, got 3. Marissa got 3. James O, Mike S, Janice. I guarantee you that's Bob and Janice under Kyle Charlene. Stephen T, Madison K, that's Kyle Cater's daughter. She got 3 direct to her this is last month. So we compare, what we do. James and Pamela Laura, Dustin and Courtney Craig, Olga and Jason Mathis, Eric and Bobby Belair, Chris Long, Alfonso, Mike and Michelle Alleman, Fitzgerald, Mike and Noel, Jeremy Patton, George Wilson, John D, I don't know who that is on Kyle Cater's team, David and Linda, that's Holt H. They got 4. John D got 4. Louis Abadi got 4. Michael and Angie Owens got 5. Kimberly got 6. Jason Tony got 7. Michael Paleo 8. Alex Abian got 10 direct to him. And Andy Riddle got 17 direct to him. So last month the top was 17. We're saying you get 3 direct to you. So let's try to do this. This one focus we have. And the other thing I want to talk about, did they get it down here? Yeah, is these are the type people we're looking for. We're looking for this Alliance Aiden. If you don't have one of these, we can get you a picture. Your upline should have got you one by now. If you hadn't, then get that in your phone so you can, when you see people, you go like that. I know who I'm looking for right there. So that's Alliance Aiden, and this is Alliance Alice that we're looking for. So let's make sure, let's reiterate who we're looking for to recruit, and let's go get 3. Because I'm telling you, one person in your organization, the right person, changes your whole outlook. Because you start going, if I get 1, I can get 2. So make sure y'all are getting these out. I'm not posting that on Band. I'm not publicly sending that out. It's organic. I have to get you. You need to get it from your manager. I've given it to so many people individually, and these are the latest and greatest with the new logo and the whole deal on there. So. Big, simple, easy contest, T-shirt contest. It's a trick to get you rich. People always say that and go like, oh, I don't want to get a T-shirt. Like the idea is you're going to get rich. The T-shirt is, let me just say, I'm going to get me one. And then we also look for somebody else to compete with Andy Riddle. And who else was the top of that? Compete with Alex Abian. Somebody to compete with Michael. That's Michael Paleo put in 8. I didn't see that. Michael Paleo. Jason and Tony Carey put in 7. So who's going to compete? Why not you? When you put them in class, it takes 2 or 3 days to get out. They count. Get them, but 3 people under. You could get a person in, and they could compete for the T-shirt. So you could get them in now. Okay, just make sure you understand. It's not complicated stuff. We're going to get rich. All right. Oh, when is this coming up? September 10th? Okay. Give me this poster, Billy. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. There we go. This is Terry Edwards and Billy Crane. And September 10th is the showdown. Are you going to be, is it the same day you're going to be in Detroit that he's going to be in Greensboro? So Billy Crane is flying down from Detroit, and Terry's flying up to Detroit. And it's going to be, so Winston-Salem, I said. It's not Greensboro. It's High Point, Winston-Salem, Kernersville. So Kernersville, North Carolina. And so what happens is the excitement around this meeting, you're going to want to get people there like crazy at both of these cities, Detroit and Kernersville. And I would start out, the contest for a T-shirt starts now. So if you got them in Kernersville now, then they are going to be building toward this 10th event. So what we're looking to do is have, well over 100 people. You can imagine the excitement, enthusiasm when Billy gets announced coming down from Detroit into Kernersville, North Carolina. And then we've already got lined up Riddle. Where's Riddle coming to? Riddle's coming to Kernersville, and Davies is going to be in Detroit. So it's going to be like bam, bam, coming at these people with Terry Edwards, then Stephen Davies, and then Billy, and then Andy Riddle. Okay, and we're looking at contests. Whoever gets the most guests out that day get to go on a jet. We got all kinds of stuff we're going to do. So it's just, this whole business is just about this line and just stepping across the line, you know, and standing out, making a difference. Okay. And those meetings are already smoking, so it's not like we're high energy, people smiling and excited. You wonder what stirs people up, how people make it. And I always talk to Tim Goad and Jeff Bright, and I always Google some stuff, look some stuff on the internet, and I'm flipping through my books and getting my mind right. And one of the things that I remembered about was when I was a little kid, we were at a WWE fight, or it wasn't WWE back then, it was Jim Crockett Promotions. Well, it was Jim Crockett Promotions before it was WWF and everything. And Don Cronodle was there, and his brother, he's wrestlers, right, fighters, or, actors, whatever you want to call them. They're big boys. And DK had a big cache, bigger than this, of cash just hanging out of his pocket. And me and my little brother, we was following him around hoping it would fall out. We were little kids, and God, I just remembered other stuff happened to him. Andre the Giant, he got a little person in one hand by the hair and another little person by the head right here, and he was swinging them bad boys around. One of them let go, and it was coming right at us in the crowd, and that joker was flying through the air, and he grabbed hold of the ring ropes and saved himself from flying out into the crowd and hitting us. That was a traumatic day in my life. Little people flying through the air, and Andre the Giant was big, and that money. And I was saying to my kid, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if, like when I was big, I had money like that in my pocket? I still ain't big as DK, but I got the money. And so, just what is it that sparks people to make it big and not make it, to have the energy, excitement? Let me explain something to you, Mia. I was looking, hoping, praying, believing there was something out there that I could do it and not be like normal people. So I went to NC State. I got an engineering degree. People always crack their go, "You got an engineering degree?" I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it just showed up, went to class, and it's not that hard. But I didn't want a normal job. I didn't like the vacation schedule. 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off. It's like how many weeks are there in a year? 52? No, 4 is not going to be adequate. It just didn't make no sense to me. Anyway, and then people ask me too, is it worth it? Like, would you do it all again? Like, oh, yeah, I'm still doing it. I don't want to go. Not only do I like it, I don't want to go back ever. I'm still scrambling. How do I do this thing? I like the jet. Yesterday, I'm recruiting a guy up in Guelph, Canada, and he's west of, I think that's Guelf, Guelph, Canada. Never been there before in my life. Flew on a jet up there and just flew in, chatted with him, had lunch with him, and then flew back. I was eating tacos yesterday at my house for dinner. Get up in the morning, fly to Canada. Isn't that crazy? Pass through customs. That's just crazy to me. I want to keep doing that stuff. And then last weekend, just like, what's today, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we flew down to our beach house. Yeah! It's crazy. And it's worth it. It's worth, I don't say the beating you take, the abuse you take, the fight, the mental stress, as opposed to being a nothing nobody and not getting to go anywhere. Okay, so that's the first thing, is to get people to understand it's worth it. And exchanged redoing our house. The house my dad built, I've lived in that house most of my life. I mean, when I was a kid, and then we moved back after we got married. We moved back in this house, and now she's remodeling it, and it's going to be ridiculous beautiful the way she's redoing it. And to have the money that basically she's doing whatever she wants to. As a matter of fact, there's a couple things I'm like, you ought to do this. And she's like, that's too much. That's too fancy. And I'm like, as opposed to, don't do this, honey. That costs too much. I'm like, yeah, do it. Yeah, do it. You know, just stuff like that. It's just crazy to me to get to do. But I don't want to keep beating you up with the dream because that's only part of it. But it does matter. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you is that I know this. People that you build a friendship with or a bond with people seem to make it more often. People that are distant, that don't have a connection, don't seem to make it with us. So the words I put down were friend, relationship. Give me some gray paper up here, Billy. Maybe that's it right here. Yeah. I put friend, relationships, and trust. We got this young guy that's working close. So I got a young guy who's trying to make it, and he's got a downline. So how do we draw this? So AA, it's a guy that I hired. And then he's working with this dude. And this dude right here, he always tells him kind of secret, like what happened, like what he suspects. Like he's like, this city that I'm working in, there are a bunch of dum-dums that ain't got no money. And he asks questions, like silly questions. I mean, they're not silly. To him, they're important questions. And he'll ask my buddy here, he'll ask Brandon, and then Brandon will explain it to him. But if this new dude didn't trust Brandon, if there was no trust there, he would just keep it to himself and just worry about it and just let it get up in his crawl or in his guts and stir him up. So, as opposed to almost like if this was you might consider it bitching. You know what I mean? You might consider it. So they were acquaintances before. Actually, I think there's somebody in between there that's not doing much. So they were acquaintances. They've crossed paths before, but they've not been like lifelong pals. So the relationship, the trust, the friendship is growing there. So if you have people that you want to make it, you really need to develop that. The best book that I know that you can do that is called The Friendship Factor. And that's a book I kept going back to. And there's so many quotes in there. One was by the Sioux Indians. And it goes like it says, I will not judge my brother until I have walked 2 weeks in his moccasins. And then this one got me, Terry. This is a little bit different. We say this. We say everybody makes mistakes. How about this one? We all make mistakes, but everyone makes different mistakes. Because I think my mistakes make perfect sense. But then other person's mistakes, I go, that's stupid right there. That's just ignorant. I'm telling you, this turns people off when you tell them they're stupid, ignorant, because you make mistakes. Just because your mistakes are mistakes, their mistakes are mistakes. What my man is imagining as a boogeyman, I might have imagined as something else. You with me? Like his crazy fears are as normal as my crazy fears. This kind of, Debbie? All right. It continued on with another one from, so that was Sioux Indians and Beethoven. Beethoven's the one that said that we all make mistakes, we just make different ones. Goethe, another philosopher, he said, one has only to grow older to become more tolerant. I see no fault that I might not have committed myself. I see no fault that I might not have committed myself. In other words, I can see where I would start blaming the leads, or I would start blaming the community, or I would blame my upline. I can see where I could make that mistake. And then Samuel Johnson said, God himself, sir, does not propose to judge man until his life is over. He don't judge him until his life is over. Why should I or you? So judging people, so that's part of what they call friendship factor. I call it having a big window. A lot of people like, if you fit through this, if you're this age, if you're this religion, if you like this kind of food, this kind of activities, then you're my friend. I feel like my window is pretty big window. You with me? Like I'm pretty accepting of people, kind of, my wife would tell you, too accepting, like I love them too quick. But whereas a lot of people don't love anybody, they don't like them, then they don't have anybody successful. Where I've had a lot of people successful, don't get me wrong, because I let more people in, I have been hurt more, I think, than most people. But there's no way that I just know that loving them and care about them and having an open acceptance of them makes a big difference. There's no doubt I got my whom I'm looking for. You know, I know I'm looking for these people right here, Aiden and Alice, right? But you know, like religions, people ask me like, what do you think? Do you think this guy right here is going to go to heaven? I'm like, I hope so. You know what I mean? You don't even know about him, but you hope he goes in. Well, yeah, I don't want him to get declined. He get declined, I might get declined. You know what I'm saying? And they said, but don't you know your way's right? I feel pretty good about my way, but I ain't sure to the point that I want to be judging people and saying, I don't think he's going to make the cut. You know, I call that doubt. I got my doubts. And I'm kind of hoping God is okay with him and her. I hope he forgives them. Because I don't want to go to hell, you know. Woo! How about a big boo-boo? So if I were you, I would get gooder at relationships, get better at relationships and being friends with people and getting to know them and having them over to eat. Now, if you got 50 to choose from, you do need to pick the most likely ones, but you got to have that relationship with those people. Danny, y'all working on that? You and Laurie? All right. Now, this one's, I might come back to that. This one's kind of interesting. To me, it's people, it's not to me. This is, by the way, I'm telling this is facts right here. Old people hit me with this. Well, they hit me with this like, I agree with that. Like, what are you inferring? You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with that. That's something you're saying that I can get on board with. I'm like, you best get on board with everything I'm saying because you're old. And you ain't got much time to start enjoying life. And now you're going to start picking and choosing like you at that Golden Corral. You know, you understand what I'm saying? It's like they go like, I agree with that. Like they're picking what I'm telling you, this stuff, I've been doing this 27 years, and I consult with a lot of, you know, high-level people that know this stuff. I'm not making this stuff up. This is facts. This is it. Relationships is number one. People that have relationships. All right, next one. This is a big deal. Most of the time, people get a feel, an indicator, and then they just start acting. They start acting. And then they start to get some results. And then they get this confidence thing built up. And then they do more. Can you work with me? Can you see where a person that does that is going to be more likely to succeed? Like, why do some people? A lot of people, they're waiting for a feeling, and they're waiting to trust, and they're waiting for belief, and and all this, they're waiting so they can start acting, so that the acting they can get the results. And this don't happen near as often as this. People are more likely to act their way into a feeling than feel their way into acting. Does that make any sense? Like it's a trick that I have learned, like with exercising, with getting up, with making phone calls. It's you're going to come back to the word do. The people that do are more likely to succeed. Now, what people say, the biggest thing is, is what I dealt with in the past. I've had, I was beaten as a child, or I was loved on as I was a child. You understand? Beaten as a child, loved on as a child. What I'm telling you is, this was a revelation to me, was the do part. Okay? How about that? I'll do it again. The do part, when I heard this logic to me, okay, so if you're sitting there going like, I'm not a salesperson, are you a doer? I'm an older person, are you a doer? I'm only 18, are you a doer? What it's going to come down to is that do part. But people trust and love people that like them and accept them. So if you accept the person and they feel like they're welcome into the organization, they are more likely to do. You tracking with me on that? Okay. All right. Sometimes we call these people dumb enough. Dumb enough to start doing it when they don't have enough evidence. Because these smart people, they like to keep waiting for the feeling and the trust and the belief. And they're waiting, and this wait, I spell it like this. This wait messes them up. Because when I see people wait like this, W-A-I-T, it tends to weight them down. And they never get over to the act into the feel. So when you're talking, when you have a new person and you're talking to them, you need to explain this to them. Like this is more likely that you would succeed if you would just do. So really, I need a person to fail. I don't need them to succeed as much as I need them to fail. Because if they fail enough and we can make some adjustments, they'll start succeeding. But if they fail to fail and all they do is wait, so believe it or not, this is the part where explaining this to people helps. The same as if you're riding down the road and you see a bump up ahead, and hey, y'all heads up, we're getting ready to go over a bump. You go, all right, cool. But if you're riding down the road talking, you hit a boom, what the? You know what I mean? Our pilots, when we do the private jet, they're the same way. They're like, hey, heads up, we got some turbulence up ahead. Then we feel better because they're not surprised and we're not surprised. Does that make sense? So it's the same thing in becoming successful in this company. If you can explain to people that the heads up, this is more likely. And this, so like the 3 recruiting, you want to get 3 recruits, you want to get a free t-shirt. Best start now, best start talking to people, best start texting your upline, best start running an ad, best when you come out of this meeting, talk to somebody right away. By the way, we are doing a lot better job of meeting people, I'm seeing. Restaurants, DMV, people getting their license, people are waitresses and waiters. We're doing a whole, in-home, we're doing a lot better. See them, go get them than we used to. Used to we were all advertisements and Indeed and I don't know, what do we call the other, ZipRecruiter and all. And so like people say against, I'm not against all that. I'm just saying when we see a person in person, it's more likely to get them going. I think I was telling Friday, Jane, my wife got the girl that does her pedicures, I don't know, Mike, matter of fact, I asked Mike Hartlib, how does she do? What's the update on this girl? And so I'm even meeting people and then giving them to other people. Hey, this person's interested. Get them started, okay? Because people are. There was a girl. Somebody posted on Band. Some young military guy was getting WIC, W-I-C. Is that a free food for their kid or something, or free medical? And I was like, that joker's broke. But he had good personality, but he just don't know what to do. Oh, Uber drivers. Oh, Lord. You know, it's like, they're not making any money. I'm starting to meet them now that they're just doing it for entertainment. They're like, I'm retired. I just didn't want to stay home and watch TV. Like, you say, well, could they get in this and do for entertainment? Yeah, sure. Sure. Okay. So if you want to win that contest, that's a do now. You need to get moving on it. All right, this one's kind of tricky. People that make it. That's all a negative word to start with. Here's where it goes. You or they, what they blame. Okay? What I have seen in the last 27 years, people that blame anything besides themselves versus people that blame themselves. People that blame themselves, I see they tend to get better. And these people tend to get bitter. Like if they figure out a way, if they blame it on the leads, if they blame it on me, blame it on the hot spot, you know, the hot spot I go to is not good. Or the hot spot I go to, nobody's selling. Or the hot spot I go to, where I got trained. So they get this bitter attitude about life versus the people that are trying to get better. These people blame anything, anybody, anything but themselves. So they take that picture of you, and everything is the problem outside of that circle. Nothing inside of you. But people that have the you attitude, and they go like, God, I got to get better at selling. My phone script sucks. You know, I know my ratios are terrible. Or lately, it's shocking how a person can blame anything in the world but not make phone calls. You're like, you didn't make any phone calls. I mean, God, you make me almost violate some political, make me say something wrong. You know what I mean? I want to call them a name. Don't do it. Every time I do that, somebody texts me, you shouldn't, I really wish you wouldn't say that. I wish you'd make some phone calls. You know what I mean? Like it's not that thing when I call people the chicken. That don't bother them so much. It's something else I say about people. I question their mental aptitude in a real derogatory sort of a way. Don't say it. I want to say it so bad. I want to say like, how could you possibly blame the system when you're... You know what I'm saying? Like when your dumbass didn't make no phone calls. You know what I mean? That's not what people don't usually even text me about that. Matter of fact, call them dumbass, they like that. That R word, boy, woo, sets off an emotional text her. I wish she wouldn't have said that. I wish you made some phone calls. I mean, you're sounds like you can't people that fail. Now, some people it's different saying like, "Hey, I'm just a dum-dum," right? Or they got these excuses that they want to say they're down here, but they quit. They say like, I'm just not the kind of person that's pushy. All right, you with me on that one? Okay, let me ask you this. Are you the kind of person who gives a crap about anybody else's life? Are you the kind of person that cares about anybody else's finances? Do you care about anybody besides you? You're taken care of, but nobody else. See, that's not the same kind of blaming yourself when you say, I'm just not pushy or I'm not an outgoing person. You know how to be an outgoing person to call up somebody and find out when they get home and go sell them some insurance. It's called work. And you do need to get good at it, and you do need to practice at it. So this is a big divide. People that try to get better, or people that, I don't know if they try to get better, but they just get bitter about it. If you could somehow self-evaluate, am I being bitter or am I trying to get better? No matter what it is. I'm sitting here going through stuff that I'm dealing with in my life, and I'm going like, I can't get bitter about it. I've got to get better at figuring it out. Buffett, what was it Buffett lost? Warren Buffett lost millions of dollars when it was flooding in Louisiana. Oh, I know what it is. He owns a big P&C, stock in P&C companies. So all these, when these people got wiped out with a flood, the property and casualty had to pay out large amounts to these people, and he lost hundreds of millions of dollars in that deal. But you say, well, how did he make that good? Well, he happened to own trailer, what do you call them, trailers, parks, manufactured homes. He owned businesses that make mobile homes, manufacturing. And guess what people were putting back by the hundreds of thousands of these mobile homes? So where money was going out from the PNC, it was going through the roof with his mobile home manufacturing company. Yeah. You know? In other words, how do you get better? How do you think about like when you lose or when something happens, how do you get better? And this is one of my favorite ones that I've done. Like I don't understand in America today why people don't work with all the opportunity, and you know, you got people lined up. They say Mexico, people trying to get over here, trying to sneak across the border. I know people that are moving to Canada from a certain country, and then they're sneaking into America. They just figuring out how to get to America. I don't know any other country but people trying to. I ain't never heard of another country having to worry about border security. You know what I'm talking about? People trying to get into Italy. Hey, go on over there. They don't care. You know, or Russia, go on. They'll take you. You know, but America, they trying to get into. Why? Because of opportunity. So you look at people that ain't working, and then somebody was told me about this statistics of how many people, they take all our tax money and they give them out to people for housing, and then they go, some of them get in the mail, and some of them just go down to the office and they get a check to pay for the housing, free rent. You get mad about that, you get bitter, right? Or you get you a bunch of rental homes. You part of the taxation pyramid scheme. All them people getting taxed, and then the money goes to these people that are poor, and then they take the money and they take it down to your rental property and pay for their rent. Woo! Woo! Does that make sense? Like, you got to think, how do I get better, not how do I get bitter? You see what I'm saying? Like think, how do I get it done? Does that make sense? How do I get it? Like I'm telling y'all, when I was in the broke neighborhood, like see how this line is? And I would look over there and I'd look up how many people were millionaires in America. It's a few thousand people, you know. And I was like, what if I just stepped over there? You like, you know, so I was just thinking, what if I just... And so I put myself in that position. I looked around and nobody cared. And I was like, but that's only in my imagination. So I just kept doing it. Like, y'all ever did that? Like the worst case scenario, you imagine, say, what if I did that, then what would happen? Like, what if I just slapped her? You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, so you imagine, pop, you know, and then you step back. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? And then you think, no, if I slapped her, she might have a hidden gun. She might be carrying and put a cap in me. You know, so you, does that make you, like, I was like, how do I become one of the people that have money and see if everything will be okay? Does that make sense? So I was just saying, how do I, and one of the things I come up with, if you ain't figured out, is networking. You know what I mean? Because I knew, I've talked to people that are smart. They understand chemistry, and them people smart. I did not possess that trait. Does that make sense? But this networking thing was one of my deals. I was like, I bet you, because you can hire people that can sell better than you. You can hire people that can recruit better than you. You can, in other words, you can hire away your problems. So one of my getting better in life was, how do I figure out a way to do this? Mia, tracking with me? I was like, if I could just get me a few people, and you see I've had some success doing it. But in the beginning, it was ugly. Okay? As a matter of fact, everybody you see in my network, thousands of people that I know, only one single person that I hired stuck and did anything. Everybody else, it was this person didn't do it, but this person did. And this, like I didn't hire, like everybody, I hired Andy Riddle, right? Andy Albright hired. No. I hired a guy who hired a guy who hired a guy who hired a guy, and then I met Riddle. So I didn't even hire him. Like, I'm not that, but that networking makes miracles happen. So it's a weird sort of a thing. Kind of makes sense. Like, I hired a guy, and this guy hired a guy, and then I met Riddle, and then Riddle stuck, and then Riddle was doing this thing, and then he hired Chris Long, right? So the one guy that answered an ad that I personally ran was Stephen Davies. But so if you ain't found one, if you said, nobody I've ever hired is doing anything, welcome to my world. 27 years of hiring people and nobody stuck. Nobody. So how do you have a network? Because they found somebody who stuck. But so you got to just get better at this, or whatever it is, whether it's selling, recruiting, or the whole combination, the whole kit and caboodle, selling, recruiting, and building. Okay, so how do you get better? So, all right. Oh, I know this is something else along those lines. Is this guy right here? No, this guy right here. This dude right here. He tends to go way high, and he tends to go way low. Is Bright hanging around down here? There he is. Jeff, come up here and let's talk about Jeff. I was talking to Jeff about how I made it and how others make it, and so we got into this thing about highs and lows. And what you really need to do is you need to do a straight line between point A to point B. But if you go up, say party all day, party all night, and then you get depressed, there's certain lines if you go across. Like this is the line where I say they take pictures of you naked and post it on the internet, you know, because you was, yeah. And then there's suicide, right? There's killing yourself. You step over that line, even if you fail, like if you're a suicide attempter and mess up, you still stand a chance of going to the hospital for months out of commission, disfigured. You might, depending on how you do it, it can mess you up, right? It's going to be hard to get back to the line. And Jeff called this, he said, you have better coping skills. Like I said, I don't know about that, but tell him what you meant about this coping skills that he thinks is important.
Guys, sometimes when I look at Andy, I see this very successful person. There's a huge gap between my salary and his salary. He's obviously made better decisions than I have in my life.
But you know what? He bleeds same color I bleed, right? He's really no different than we are. So when we were talking about the subject of why do some people fail and some people succeed, we hear all these cliches like, Terry, you say them, I say them, we say them all the time. You just got to believe more, or don't ever give up. We hear all these catchy things, and you see them on Facebook, and people get out there and they put all these quotes, and we go, oh, wow, I say them from stage. But I thought it really just comes down to the fact that he has better coping skills. So under pressure, he handles pressure better than I do, or you do. Does he hurt? Does he fall down and skin his knee? Yeah, but his recovery time is faster than our recovery time. That's all it is. And so a lot of you wallow around, and like I do, in our own self-pity and this blame that we talked about. Where's that blame thing? And I look back at this, Andy acts his way into a feeling. Most people do the opposite. They do the opposite. And what this feeling really is a perspective on the future. See, his perspective on the future is much brighter than mine. I hope for a better future. He knows about what it's going to look like. He's had a vision. It's very clear to him. So a lot of people if we're going to act our way to a feeling instead of feeling our way into action, then we also need to believe ourselves into trust versus trusting ourselves into believing. That's where the problem is, I think.
Say it again, rewind.
All right. So
Trust our way.
Most people, if I said, hey, I want you to have a belief, most of you in this room got to trust before you can believe. Agree? There's nothing wrong with agreeing with that, okay? Because we're all like that. Most human beings on this earth have to trust before they can believe. Successful people believe before they trust. It's called a leap of faith. We don't have it. We're not willing to risk it all. We're not willing to throw everything in. We hold back a whole lot. A whole lot. I know people, I used to run a lot. I know people that when they run, they will sit there and go, at the end, they still had a lot left. Because they're afraid to put it all out there because they're afraid I might not finish. So that's what I'm talking about. Believe your way into trusting versus trusting your way into a belief. That's abnormal. That is not normal. So if you want to say he's abnormal than we are, then he's abnormal that way. But he's no different than we are. He has the same aches and pains we have.
I think it's practice. Like as in, I've practiced not freaking out. Like
that's that coping skill.
You can learn, I don't think I was born with a not freaking out gene. You with me? Like I remember 27 years ago hearing that if you stump your toe, think about something else. And I have found that to be very true. Like really bad stuff happens in my life. Somebody dies. Don't think about that. Does that make sense? Like if you think about it, think, wow, this is a really tough situation. And then how do I turn that energy into work? Does that make sense? So if you're going to think about it, you only think about what do I got to do to get better, not how bad is it. Don't wallow in it.
That's what we were talking about this in the office, that everybody in this room has a gas tank, the same gas tank. We can put the same amount of gas each day in it. His gas tank's no bigger capacity-wise than mine. But he chooses to use his gas more wisely than I do. I'll go entertain stuff that's going to drain half of my tank. Then I ain't got half of it left.
He entertains it. Like if I could, best demonstration, so if you stump your toe really bad, if you want it to hurt longer and delay you longer, just sit down and look at it. It'll make it last longer. But if you just be like, God, don't never step over there no more. That's a bad spot right there. I got to move that chair. All right, hey, when are we going to eat again? I got to recruit somebody. I got to give me one of them free T-shirts. You'd be surprised how fast. Yeah, like if you just sit down and look at it like that right there and talk about it, my toe, I know it's killing me. Look at that blue, turning blood. But if you just let him hardly look at it and just go like, God almighty, woo! I got to get to recruiting. I ain't gonna get a T-shirt. You just got to practice that. You'll get so good at it, it'll annoy other people. Like they'll be like, so and so died, and you'll be like, oh, I got to. Like, I'll be like, yeah, we got to get us a T-shirt. We're going to recruit somebody, and he ain't going to be one of them. That jerk's dead. You know what I mean? But you can't. I'm to the point I have to remember, act sad, act sad, act sad. Like I said, act sad, because I'm already moving on to my T-shirt. So if you go too far on this.
You're right. You got to go to the sitting up.
Yeah, and when I get a big check too, like I don't like to party too much. I'll be like, hey, you gotta get us another T-shirt. You know what I mean? When I got it. So Tim Godel, he'll be like, now you gotta remember to celebrate a little bit. You gotta celebrate with them. I'll be like, hey, we gotta get some T-shirts, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm back on this line right here. Like I get back down here quickly. You with me? Does that make sense? I want to get back down this line, or I stomp my toe on and get back on. It's a practiced coping skills, if you will. Yeah.
I've told this before, but I'll tell it again. He gave me a coping skill when I was at the college, and I was under duress.
He was duress.
I was under duress.
He was up. Here we go. Look at this right here.
No, I was like, look. Can't like you could see it through the phone. I'm not gonna get into what it was, but it was. I thought it was a big deal, and he just said real calmly, "Don't sweat it, don't stir it." And I was telling him what we need to start teaching agents is coping skills. We need like the top 10 coping skills, and these sayings like Andy has, like "Don't sweat it, don't stir it." What he's saying is don't worry about it. It's gonna be all right, and what you're planning to do, Jeff, is go talk some more about it with some other folks. And he was telling me, don't stir it. You're going to get it on you if you stir it. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Tell me you're going to leave it alone today, and now tell me you're going to not think about it no more. Now, I was tough, but see, that's easy for him, but it's really not. He's taught himself to be that way. It didn't come natural. And if he can teach himself to be that way, we all can be that way. And we're all going to make more money because of that. Those coping skills. I mean, when you go to a psychiatrist or a marriage counselor or any of those people are teaching you coping skills. That's all they're teaching you. That's all the practice is. But see, most people, when they stump their toe like that, it's a great example, is they're not just thinking it hurts. They're also dawns on them right during the hurt. Something else dawns on them. I got an excuse right here. And they get happy in the pain because of this blame, right? Because there's three types of blame. It's called all or nothing blame, self-obsessed blame, and then volatile blame. Now, some of you are good at some, and some of you are not good at the others, right? Now, self-obsessed you become like a martyr, a victim of the blame. You know, it's all, you can't move because, hey, I'm having to take one for the team. You know, y'all go on, I'll catch up. You know, you remember when I hurt my toe the other day? It's still hurting. Y'all go on, don't wait on me. Yeah. Run on. Now, some people get angry about it. It's somebody else's fault kind of blame. And they get volatile. They want to tell you how bad that person has hurt them and how it's all their fault. And I can't do anything because of this person. My parents didn't raise me right, or my uncle didn't do this right by me, or whatever. You know, my boss is, everything's about fairness in that volatile blame. Everything's about fairness. But that all or nothing one, that aggravates me the most. Those are the people that are going to go, hey, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do this thing that we're introducing them to at Hotspots. I'm gonna go all in. But if it shows me one little sign of that it's gonna be tough or it's not exactly what you said, I'm out. I'm gonna push all my chip down. I'm gonna bring them back. In and out. In and out.
God told me to get in, and God told me to get out. God told you to get in, yeah, and God told you to get out. All right, because they hit you with that God called me. Yeah. You can't argue. We can that. God made a mistake. I know better than God. No, I mean, when they invoke that God told me to get in thing, I'm always like, God gonna tell them to get out. That's what I'm. Yeah. All in. All right. I'd like to come in with a little more doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't sure, but I reckon I'll do it. You with me? That way, when something bad happens, I'll be like, yeah, I figured something bad would happen. I figured there's going to be more work to it than y'all told me. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Like, I got to get people tempered.
Mm-hmm.
You with me? So if I can temper people. So Brandon, who's teaching this young guy, I said, we got to get him, I don't know if it's the right word. I said, we got to get him mature, like an older person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like an older person be like, yeah, but all right, man, difference. Well, that's the way it's going to be. You know what I mean? Young people like, ah! Old people like, nah. You know what I mean? That old soul. Ah. You know, this is, I call this the dog poop deal too. If a dog poops inside, the best thing you can do is give it a few minutes, let it dry a little bit. Because it's just, if you start messing with it,
it gets into the carpet. Gets in the carpet worse.
Yeah, it's gonna spread. That's what. Just let it lie for a second. Just, you know what I mean? Like when it dries, you'll be able to pick it up without it getting on you. Like this thing that he had happen to him. I'm telling you, I said, dude, you start talking that, you're gonna get it in the rug. It's gonna start getting on you, and then whoever you take it to, you just need to let that stuff dry. And then you with me? Just don't panic. Like with the toe thing, you just gotta, the blood will curl up. You know what I'm saying? It'll heal up. You know, it's a stumped toe, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if it's a gash in your arm or something, you got to go to, what do you call it? Emergency.
Urgent care.
Urgent care. Don't go to emergency room, for God's sake.
No.
That's a misnamed place. You need to go to urgent care, not emergency room. You'll be there hours. Urgent care, you go in. Huh? They get you in, get you out.
How many people do you think we've lost because they don't have any coping skills?
Look at that right there.
You know?
You see that scar right there?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I was cleaning my aquarium.
Yeah, an aquarium?
I had one.
Oh.
I used to have one in the office. Oh. And I was cleaning that thing, and I had a broken glass, and it jobbed up in there. I said, oh, my God. Huh? I need a T-shirt to wrap around my arm like a dadgum tourniquet. Look at the scar. Look at that.
It's a bad scar.
I said, first thing I got to do is not pass out. Because I pass out, I don't care about your blood, but my blood, I will pass out. I was like, don't pass out. Because if I pass out, I'd let go of my arm and I'd bleed to death, right? So I went over and I got Jane. I said, look, I'm going to take my hand off and you tell me how bad it is. And I said, she says, bad, put it back on. So I put it back on. I said, how bad is it? She says, bad. She said, you go to the emergency room. I said, I got to get a T-shirt. I'm going to go to urgent care and get it sewed up. I ain't kidding. There's a guy in there smoking, drinking, and had on cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, and I said, sew me up. And that joker stapled that. That's why I got a bad story. Stapled. We put about 45 staples in it. I said, all right, I got to get back to work. But, I mean, sometimes that's different than a stump toe is my whole point. You know what I mean? But 99% of the time, it's just a stump toe. Does that make sense? But even if it's ain't, you just got to go fix it. So, look, you got to try to sell this to young people that just get started with us. Like, it's not, you say, well, if it's the truth, I don't need to sell it. Mm. Well, in Vegas, no, I'm not going to say that. It's because it's the truth, you still have to sell it. Does that make sense? I know that sounds crazy because you think if it's true, you just tell them and they accept it. No, everything has to be sold.
Sold up. Go ahead. ABC, baby.
That makes sense?
That's right.
Beer. They spend advertising on beer, and everybody knows beer is good. You don't know.
Hey, I want to tell them this.
All right, tell them that.
So look, let's just say on this side is an adult, and on this side is a toddler. Okay.
Then hit to invoke the toddler thing on them.
Yeah, we'll toddler. So an adult. And we all get in our toddler mind every once in a while. Well, more than once in a while. So adults, the difference between an adult and a toddler. And I'm gonna bring this up because I'm gonna tell the story. I was out in California. I'm gonna tell the story. So adults, when you become an adult, you always keep a promise. You never want to let anybody down, which makes you duty bound. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it did. So just all the better. All right. Toddlers they have a fear of getting taken advantage of. That's what makes them wait. They're afraid somebody's going to take advantage of them. What's taking advantage of them is their circumstances they created. Their own circumstances taking advantage of them. Then they think they graduate as in their toddler mind when they start not caring anymore. A lot of people don't care. And they believe that not caring leads to, guess what? Setting them free. They believe they're free because they don't care. And they don't care because they think somebody's going to take advantage of them. So when I was staying on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Hollywood Boulevard, but there's a lot of people that sleep on Hollywood Boulevard.
Weirdos.
Yeah. But look, they're ingenious. They find little nooks and crannies. And some of them, get there before the other, and they get a better nook or cranny. They get a full place to lay out underneath, like a little shelter. And they're right on the street. I mean, you have to step over them. Right? They're everywhere. And they're just sleeping there. Now, you know me, I got to talk to them. I got to find out. I got to find out what their perspective is on life, And I'm going to tell you what they're educated on. They can tell you name a fast food restaurant. You say Zaxby's, and you can say a chicken sandwich. That's $6.02. They know exactly how much stuff costs.
Is that right?
Huh?
That right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so they know how much money they need to eat, and they'll go, you can get some. They're having this conversation. I took one into McDonald's and bought him some hamburgers. And he's like, you can get two for, he knew the deal. I don't think about stuff like that, but he does. Very, very smart individual. He brought his box in there with him. I'm not joking about it. I mean, I know you think
You probably did.
Yeah. Nancy's like, what are we doing? But I said it's research, honey. It's research. And so see, I don't want to be. See, he gives. I don't have a care in this world, and you got all these cares. He started preaching to me, moralizing about
explaining to you
that I'm caught up in the rat race.
Did you consider doing what he was doing?
No. But when I thought about his version of being free. Well, I mean, it was this. This is his version of being free. Was this right here? On the hard ground. This ain't free.
My back would be killing me.
Yeah, this ain't nothing about this is good. Nothing.
My
It's
back
about
would be
that.
killing me.
Yeah. in the night air, I'd have all kind of bronchitis. They ain't got no health coverage.
Well, you back in from
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought I'd tell you.
So it's just perspective that what he's trying to tell you. So what you do is you shape your mind, you shape your thinking around the thinking that gets you on this side of the money. Does that make sense? Like if you want to be like this person, you got to start thinking and worry about a nickel and dime and the deal at Hardee's restaurant. Like that's what you got to think about. Like people ask me all that, and it's just so you learn the style of broke people and the style of rich people just by hanging around. Does that make you tracking with me? Like the way their fingers look, the way their fingernails look, the way they stand. Like a broke person, if I get them up here, a lot of times broke people, they stand like this right here. Okay? And then they'll double up. They'll be like, and richer people try to take up more room and more space, like a peacock. You with me? And they get more balanced, like the karate people or something. Hey-ya! You with me? Like they have these styles. And poor people, they'll do this too, Bo. They'll be like, you'd be like, you got some change in there or something? You know what I mean? Like so what you do is you develop these patterns of thinking that are like the people, Debbie, that are successful. And then you just mimic it, and then you'll end up on that side of the line. Like, the poor people, the way they talk, like your mama and my mama, whoo, some crazies.
Well, one more story about California.
Oh, Lord.
So I was thinking about how Andy handles pressure better than we do. Well, I told Andy, I said, I ran into some pressure. This was actually Saturday night.
God.
Saturday night, I'm gonna dress this up a little bit.
Dress it up a little
So,
bit.
so Saturday night,
God.
I was under some pressure. Not the kind of pressure I was expecting, but I was at a party that I didn't want to be at, but my wife wanted me to go. It was all about her, so, that's what it's about. And so I was dressed up like I was in the 60s because she was dressed up like some character from the Valley of the Dolls, Patty Duke or somebody back in the 1960s. So everybody there was that way. We were in some kind of studio where they make movies, and they had all these guest speakers. And we were there to talk about Sharon Tate being killed 50 years ago by Charles Manson. And all these crazy people in there for the same reason. And it was already bizarre. It was already bizarre, and I was in a zone like Andy gets in. I was on. I was pretending like I was somewhere else. And until I saw this light, I saw a light coming in from. They check you off the guest list to come in, and I saw these two women coming in, and they were blonde-headed, and God had been really good to them, and so I was looking. But I was trying not to look too, because Nancy was right across from me. And look, Nancy don't watch this show, all right? But today will probably be the day. So I'm looking, I'm like, yeah. So they come on in, I thought, I know those women. I know those women. I've seen those women. Oh, I know who those women are. They were Playboy bunnies. They were on the Hugh Hefner show, Girls Next Door. Holly Madison, I knew one of them's name. I don't know why that stayed with me to the other. So they come on in, and I'm sitting there going, I started blessing my number two. I said, holy shit. And I said, and I was hoping my wife didn't hear it. and I said, oh no. Here's where the pressure started. Brought them to my table. Where did they sit down? Right beside me. I did the only respectful thing I could do. I looked right in my wife's eyes and I said, honey, you're the only Playboy bunny I need. For the rest of that night, I didn't look over there. Now, one time, I may have slipped and acted like I couldn't find a button on my phone. Might have done that.
Is there a point? No point.
Well, the point is, the next time y'all feel pressure going into the home, y'all don't know pressure.
Thank you, Jeff. God. I got 2 more quick tips. Lord have mercy. Jeff, don't nobody, I don't know. I don't see anybody, y'all look too young to, I don't know what he's, television show. Hey, so, you know, I talk about the do. I heard this statement. This is going to be good coming in right after you. Is God is no respecter of persons. And when I heard that, it's if I do the do, I get the stuff. Does that make sense? So like, I don't care who you think you are and what you think your handicap is. If you do the do, you get the stuff. Does that make so? Like a lot of jobs, you do the work, you don't get the credit, you don't get the promotion, and they might say because you don't have the degree. They might say because you're a woman. They might say you're the wrong color. You don't have the right religion. You don't have accent. But in what I liked about this business and America is you do the do, you get the reward. So what this says, God doesn't pick people. And this one, I was like, I wondered if that was a real statement. And it is a real statement. And there's several different ways. This one is, now therefore let the fear of the Lord upon you. Take care and do it. For there's no iniquity with the Lord our God. No partiality, no taking bribes. In other words, you don't have to bribe to get the trip.
That's right.
Does that make sense? Another one was, yet he is not partial to princes, nor does he regard the rich more than the poor, for they're all the work of his hands. Saying, just because your mom and daddy was rich, don't mean you're going to win a trip with us. Your mom and daddy could be poor, and you still get the points. So it just kept listing glory, honor, peace to everyone who works what is good, to the Jew first, and also the Greek, for there is no partiality with God. So when I started hearing that, I was like, so let me explain something to you. I could be one of the ones that gets to own a jet. I could be one of the ones that gets to go. But the differentiating factor being the do. Does that make sense? I mean, like not how super talented you are either, but just do. And then your ability to get better. So I remember hearing this stuff in Greensboro Coliseum, sitting in the convention, and just getting so excited. I'd be like, this is like I can't believe that one day I would have a big house. I can't believe that one day I would have 2 houses. But when they said, yeah, all you got to do is do the do, I was like, if this is true. And so like what it became to me, Ed Soto, is an obsession with figuring out how to do it regardless of what was going on in my life. Regardless of who neighbor, people say, kids say this, like, how do you deal with when you lose close friends? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because I'm trying to remember when I cared, when some loser that didn't want to come with me didn't like me anymore. I was like, oh my God. I was like, my mama has disowned me several times. And every time she does, I'll be like, I don't have to go over there no more. Like I always, you know what I'm saying? Like if you had a good friend who's a loser who decides you're not their friend, you'd be like, hey, I don't have to go eat with them no more, or hey, I don't have to loan them no more money, or and then you say, well, did your mom take you? Oh yeah, she called me back. Hey, Andy, I love you. I'll be like, oh, she's back again. I'm back in her life, so now I got to go visit. But I don't like not visit when I'm in good standing with her. But whenever she disowns me, I'm like, whew, that takes something off of my plate that I have to do. Does that make? I know it sounds like I'm in a do mode. So when anything slows me down, it gets on my nerves. Whether it's like a health issue, I don't like it when I have health issues because it gets in the way of my do. And like the time I was about to die, they kept saying, "You're going to die." And I was like, I got so much to do. But you got pneumonia. And I was like, You know what I mean? Like it'd be like saying, "Hey, remember when you didn't have pneumonia anymore? How'd you deal with that?" I was like, I was glad when I didn't have pneumonia anymore. But people like you were as glad your little childhood friends as pneumonia. Some of them, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just annoying. So I hear you, and I'm trying to relate to you, but I'm going like, you're going to have new friends. Right. And I want my old friends. I do too, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like really? That's what you want? Is the way it was? Like everybody remembers these good old days. People say, "You remember when we played Southern?" I'm like, nope. There was a Southern there. I think this still has a Southern high school around here. You remember we played them? I think I don't remember what they're. No, I don't remember that play. Like I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like, how I'm gonna get a suite and what my suite's gonna look like. I get time to think about that play. I don't know if you can relate. It's just but if it bothers you, things are going to have to change for things to change. Does that kind of make any sense? They can't stay the same. And where my life is now, if I want it to change and get even better, things are going to have to change. And I can't determine that. What I got to determine is how I got to do the do. Okay? All right, so God is no respecter. This is a pretty good article. You can have that. Okay. Is your name Jane?
No, I'm Catherine.
Catherine. Are you Jane? You Jane. Okay, now this last thing, this one is more like everything has been about you trying to help somebody. But I'm saying, what if your upline is not nice and not building a good relationship? What if you're in the hot spot that's a bad city and a lot of dum-dums in there that can't sell and they're mean? And what if you are where you're not near a hot spot? And what if, like, nobody's trying to build a relationship with you because the guy above you quit and the guy above you quit and the girl above you quit, and then, you don't know anybody. So what do you do then? So in other words, you decide, like, I want to make it, okay? So it's like, I want to make it. What do I do? Here's the biggest secrets that I can tell you. The one is get really good at association. What you do is, whoever you're hanging around is who you're going to become. So what you got to do is you got to figure out how to get up. My dad used to say that, get up in there. Get up in there, boy. And like we go to a new ball team or something, he said, get up in there. And what he was saying is, it's like you got to get in there and sit down beside the right people.
Come on, take a seat, baby.
Does that make sense? And just sit down beside them. So like when you go to hot spot, find out who's the best person there. And so none of them there are good. Then you're going to have to go to a different city. Does that make sense? Like, so I ain't got no money. Well, you're going to have to find the money. It's books and audios. There's if you're an iPhone, it's the podcast thing. It looks like this purple thing icon. Click on that and then search Andy Albright, and that'll take you to these free audios so you can listen to me and Andy Riddle, and by listening, you're around us. Books. New book I've been reading is called Relentless. Ow. Read that. This How to Win Friends and Influence People by Alan Lloyd McInnes. He's really good at relationships. You associate with people that are successful through books and audios and where your honey is, where your butt is. Get your butt around the right places. My boy, what's your name? Yeah. Huh? Andrew. Andrew, I should remember. Andrew has one of those people that had a lot of stuff he was dealing with, and he was texting me because he associates with me, and he said, I'm coming to see you. I hadn't been there in a long time. See, recognizing the intelligence, Andrew, that you ain't been here in a while and you need to get here. It just molds you so much differently to a likely victory. Does that make any sense, like whatsoever? So the association, and then the other thing is get insatiable about better at the basics. Okay, and the basics from the way you stand, the way you dress, to the way you look, your smile, to getting referrals, getting checks, finding annuity money, and recruiting people. Get good at the lowest level stuff. Sometimes I call them big rocks, but you got to get great at the basics. So hanging out, association, and getting good at the basics will make you killer. Does that make sense? So the do part, you're going to do association and you're going to do the basics. Like that combination is almost 100% guaranteed. Like, I will say this, I've never ever, in 27 years, never seen a person fail that did those two things. Like never. I've never seen anybody, and people say, how about me? And I go, come here, let's talk about your basics. Tell me what you've done lately on the basics. Tell me what book you're reading, then you have a ticket. So I can quiz them real quick. Does that make, it is so simple to make sure that you win. If you'll just, but you got to be fanatical about the basics. Phone calls, getting really good at the phone calls, getting good in the house. Just crazy. And then at association, you want to weasel, squirm, buy, purchase, invest to get in the highest income people. Like people are so funny, like they want to get on a jet with me or they want to hang out with me. Like, it's very expensive to hang around rich people. So you take every dime you've got to hang around them and you just get around. People say, what is this, osmosis? Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like you'll just absorb it just by being around. You might get cracked on, but you'll pick up on little stuff, nuances that help you win. Who's in for the t-shirt? Ribbons, awards, t-shirts, getting a little bit of time is the way I've built my life. I've tricked myself into it, and now I get to do stuff that I ain't never, ever dreamed of, and I'll do it all again. I would probably do it more. I would probably be crazier and more fanatical how I would go all in. I just go all in. And I like to see some people just rise up in this company and make some money overnight. And I say overnight, like 6 months, 9 months, 18 months, just kind of get into the crazy money. So what do you think, bud? You in? Love y'all. Hope this helps. One more person making it big with us and sticking. Thank you.